Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is a little show we like to do called The Farzy Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Yesterday was a very good day in the Philadelphia sports world. A lot of good things, a lot of good vibes coming out of the NovaCare Complex ahead of a game here against Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team that has taken it to the Eagles more often than not. I went back and I looked over some of the game notes I had from last year's game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers before the big turnaround, before the 10-game winning streak. Paris Campbell was your leading receiver in that game. Your leading wide receiver in that game. I believe it was Dallas Goedert who was actually the leading receiver. But wide receiver-wise, Paris Campbell, Jahan Dotson were your starters. Paris Campbell was the leader in the clubhouse for wide receivers in yards in that game. Having A.J. Brown, having Devontae Smith, I think it's going to help things. I think it's going to help things a little bit in this game. Also, the fact that the passing game is coming off such a great performance, and the first three opponents of the season have blitzed Jalen Hurts with really no regard for moderation. With great regularity, they have gone after Jalen Hurts. So, hey, Todd Bowles, give me something I haven't seen yet. Jalen Hurts, talked about that yesterday, just preparing for a game like this, and also all the tools that Todd Bowles has at his disposal, and what a great defensive mind he is. I'll let you hear from Jalen Hurts on that matter. Also, Jalen Hurts yesterday credited Kevin Patullo for his ability to adjust in the second half. Now, it's funny. Jalen Hurts said yesterday what I've been saying all week about the passing in the second half. People were acting like they were surprised by it. Like, where was this in the first half type of thing? Well, they had to do it. They had, there was no great grand adjustment in the second half other than, they really got to throw the football, because they're behind 19-7 and then 26-7. So, yeah, you're going to throw the football. I believe the term I used yesterday was, is it everybody's first day? Do you realize if football were down like that in the second half, you throw the ball? But anyway, he gave credit to Kevin Patullo for that, and he quite frankly just said that. Hey, what changed in the second half? Well, we had to change. We had to throw the football, that kind of thing. So let's hear from Jalen Hurts on that. Then I'll also let you hear from Jalen Hurts just overall going up against Tampa. Just what this type of game means to him and what this means to the team. A.J. Brown spoke about it yesterday. Also, every year it's different. Hey, the people forget the Eagles went down there in one of their two 10-plus point victories of the season 3 years ago now, and they dominated. They rolled the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa. Now, that was a night game, so maybe the weather wasn't playing into it as much as this weather could play into it. Also went up against them in a normal scheduled game. That was also a 1 o'clock game last year. I don't know if it's weather. I don't know if it's Todd Bowles. I would think it's more of Todd Bowles and not having your complete roster with you as to why you've struggled, especially last year against this team. But I'm going to tell you this before we even get into Football Friday. On this Thursday, I'm going to tell you the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win this football game. I am very confident about that. We'll get into that matchup. And then we'll also get into your Philadelphia Phillies, who last night, bottom line, they clinched a first-round bye. Yay. But they also hit a franchise record 8 home runs in an 11-1 win over the Miami Marlins. This game was fun. This game was a boatload of fun. Now, they hit 8 home runs, and Mundo Sosa became the first Phillies shortstop ever to have a 3-homer game. Okay. He hadn't played in 12 days. He'd been nursing a groin injury, and he comes back, and he's swinging at baseballs that are almost teed up on top of the plate, almost like golf. They were so low in the zone is what I'm telling you. He went down and got him and put a charge in him to put him over the wall. Left center field, first one, low. Second one was a hanging slider that he roped perfectly to the middle of left field. And then the last one, also low in the zone, that he roped as a wall scraper to a fan's hands. I don't know what the guy's connection is to the Iron Pigs, but the Iron Pigs were putting out videos of this guy. I don't know if he was a manager, a coach, a trainer, Iron Pigs Hall of Famer for all I know. I don't know. But he big way dropped it. hit him right in the hands, first row, left field. Just went over the fence, just over the petunias, tulips, whatever they are, daisies. I don't know flowers. And he dropped it, unfortunately. It was the third home run of the game for Edmundo Sosa. The history involved in that one. Hadn't played for 12 days, hits 3 home runs, and I love the story that Taryn Nicole Hatcher told during the after the third home run, where he comes back into the dugout after the home run. Everyone's high-fiving him, his third home run, everyone's high-fiving. And Alec Boehm comes over and is like, you sure you didn't need another day? Are you sure you didn't want another day off? Then they get the great footage of him and Brandon Marsh going 1, 2, 3. It was great. It was great. Also, Kyle Schwarber. The man's not human. 2-homer night for him. His 56th home run of the season, so 55 and 56 came last night. His 56th home run of the season traveled 468 feet. That's his furthest home run of the season. Saved it for this one. And that was an 89-mile-per-hour fastball, dead middle of the zone. That is a batting practice pitch, and he didn't miss it. He did not miss it. He had a tougher time. He faced Bayozo, and that's the one he hit the 468-foot home run. And then later he faced Sanoja, position player, and he should have popped out to short, essentially, on this one, or flied out to short. He had a monstrous high pop-up that dropped because no one knew how to get it. No one knew who was going to get it between third, short, and left. But bottom line for him, 56 home runs on the season, now 2 shy of tying Ryan Howard's mark with 4 games left to go in the season. I know a lot of people want to, no, don't break it. What? No, come on. Records are meant to be broken. I say to hell with it. I hope he hits 60. Let's get a home run a game for the last 4 games of the season. Get to 60. I would love to see that. It was wild. Boehm hit a homer last night. Otto Kemp hit a 2-run home run. Bryson Stott hit a home run as well. 8 home runs. I would have thought that there would have been a bigger net. Like, think about that for a second. Like, these are Ryan Howard and Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley and Pat Burrell. Like, those guys. And last night, by the way, it didn't even dawn on me, but somebody in the comments of the postcast even mentioned last night. They were like, hey, by the way. There we go. There we go. Sorry about that. Hey, by the way, no Trey Turner, no Bryce Harper in the lineup. Go figure. And they still hit 8 home runs. Edmundo Sosa, by the way, ties his career high with 10 home runs in a season. Just like that. How about that? And while the power was definitely provided by the bats and at the plate, the man towing the rubber last night, Jesus Luzardo, 7 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, no walks, 10 strikeouts. One of the really amazing things about Jesus Luzardo's night was that he lowered his ERA from 4.08 to 3.92. Now, you might think, nah, what's that matter? I've talked to enough pitchers in my life. I've talked to enough athletes in my life, professional athletes in my life, where they might not really look at it during the season as anything, but later on in the offseason, when they might look back over their numbers, it is a big confidence booster to see a 4 next to your name with, regardless of what's behind it, 4.08, whatever. It's a big difference between that and 3 point whatever. It might only be fractions, okay? Might only be fractions. But to them, it makes a big deal. And honestly, if you're even just looking at the stat sheet at the end of the season, say, ERA in the high 3s, not great, but in the 3s. Just where would he have been without that 23-run stretch over 3 starts? Where would he be without that? Where would he be? Where would he be without that 17-run stretch in 1 start? Goo. Very happy for Jesus Luzardo. Very happy for him. Now, I think I've said this every day. I'm going to say it again today on Thursday. But I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I've said this, and I'm going to say it again today on Thursday. Nick Sirianni last year was in the same position that Kevin Patullo was in this year, which is every good play last year, that was Kellen Moore. In the court of public opinion,
knee-jerk, immediate reaction in the court of public opinion. Every good play was Kellen Moore. Every disastrous play was that must have been Nick Sirianni. Oh, Nick Sirianni, he's meddling in the play calling again. I can tell because it sucks. This year, if it's a good play, Jalen Hurts either called it or checked to it at the line of scrimmage. If it's a bad play, Kevin Patullo's an idiot with no originality. Okay. That's the way this is going to go. This is the season for Kevin Patullo, unfortunately. And although I didn't get the same vibe everybody else seemed to get when they saw the footage of Jalen Hurts on the sideline talking to Kevin Patullo, if you just look at it isolated, I could get why people are like, oh, look at Jalen yelling at Patullo for being an idiot, you know? But when Jalen is being shown on the sidelines, going around to everybody and having like intense conversations, or you could tell is trying to put the quarter in the machine for everybody to get it going. Hey, let's keep this going. We got to get it going. Let's keep it going and get it going. Come on. It certainly provides context. So I never got the sense looking at him talking to Kevin Patullo like it was anything wildly negative or critical from Hurts to Patullo. So yesterday, I'm listening to Jalen Hurts, and he's talking about a lot of great stuff. He's talking about, going up against Todd Bowles. Like I said, I'll let you hear from him on that. Beating the blitz. He's talking about getting on the same page as his wide receivers. He's talking about how he had no reaction to the Jordan Davis scoop and score touchdown. He's talking about that. Talking about his sideline conversations and all that. But the one key question that got asked was, I believe it was Tim McManus of ESPN that asked the question. When you watch the film, what changed, Jalen? When you watch the film, what did you notice between the first half and the second half? Why were you throwing the ball so much? The audio, for whatever reason, is a little gummed up here, but I'll translate it. He says, we had to. He starts it off with that, and then he goes on to credit Kevin.
We put ourselves in a position, and we approach the game in a different way. And, you have games like that. And I think as a unit, we found a way to get it going. And I give a lot of credit to KP in that. Being able to adjust and see and get us in a direction.
Now, he wasn't asked about Kevin Patullo. He was asked what changed. What did you notice in the film from first half to second half? I could sense a lot of people giving an epic eye roll when he shouted out Kevin Patullo. Like, of course he's going to say that. He's going to try to, calm the storm around Kevin Patullo being an idiot, and Jalen Hurts comes in to save the day. Here's why I think that eye roll is not warranted. Jalen Hurts has not been afraid to be honest in the past. If he feels like he's not dealing with somebody that knows what they're doing or complimenting or their contributions aren't helping the team, he's not afraid to say less. He doesn't go out of his way to give shout-outs. Perfect example. Last year, Nick Sirianni downshifts in responsibility. Everything's going to be on the plate of Kellen Moore. Nick Sirianni is not going to be doing the play calling, as we know. Nick Sirianni also not going to be doing game planning. That's different. So that begged the question at the end of last year. Hey, Nick, what do you do here exactly? Oh, to be the head coach. Be the head coach of the football team. So then when minicamp rolled around, and I believe it was Martin Frank of the Delco Times asked Jalen Hurts, hey, what does it say about Nick's versatility that he can, do different roles with this team and allow other people to kind of take more of a grasp of the offense? Like, basically the question was, hey, say something nice about your head coach. And Jalen, he had nothing. He had nothing. So he's not really one to just embellish or lie or try to cover for somebody else. I believe that if he is giving a compliment, that is a well-earned compliment. And as was my take and my impression after the game, there was no genius thing where Jalen Hurts went to the sideline and said, hey, we're down 19-7. Now we're down 26-7. We should throw the football. And Kevin Patullo went, What? We should throw the foot. Let me think about this. We're down 26-7, and you want to throw the football. By golly, that's brilliant. I would have never thought of throwing the football when we're trailing by 19 points in the second. Wow, that is brilliant. No, that's football. That's what you do. So I don't give credit. I don't look at Jalen Hurts and be like, wow, he's a genius. He threw the football. I don't look at Kevin Patullo if he's like, hey, we should probably throw the football. Wow, you guys are geniuses. No, it's a matter of how you're going to attack it. Now, a couple of things happened that opened up the door for him. One, going up tempo. If that was KP, if that was Jalen Hurts, whoever's idea, good hustle. The other thing is you kind of have to go up tempo as well because you're down 19 points, for crying out loud. And I don't think they have 2 field goal blocks. Like, oh, yeah, well, we're going to go. They're not coming out of the second half and be like, okay, we're going to get 2 field goal blocks here. Everything's going to be fine. No, you got to put yourself in a better position than that. And fortunately, they got in a better position than that thanks to their field goal blocks. But you're going to go up tempo. They went up tempo. They're going to throw the football. They throw the football. They also, by the way, for those that have forgotten, A.J. Brown's great. Devontae Smith is great. Jalen Hurts is great. Dallas Goedert, great. You're going to have success if you go up tempo and you start airing it out with those guys. More often than not, you're going to have success chucking the football with receivers like that, a quarterback like this, and an offensive line that is, I know, they've lacked a little bit this year, but still pretty damn good. You're going to have success. I don't think Jalen Hurts is just throwing Kevin Patullo's name out there with the compliment just for the sake of throwing KP's name out there for a compliment. I don't think it's a matter of trying to calm the storm that has risen around him when it comes to, oh, he's an idiot, Jalen Hurts is brilliant, Jalen Hurts saved the day. I think it's a matter of, no, you guys don't really, he's good. He knows what he's doing. Give him a minute, and we'll figure it all out together. Jalen has also been honest about getting on the same page. Just last week, we were talking about that when it came to Jalen Hurts saying there's going to be a minute, where you got to get used to everybody. And I know we've all been around each other when it comes to me in this receiving core, and it comes to Kevin Patullo as a associate head coach and a passing game coordinator. We've all been around each other, but now in this capacity, it's different. That's going to take time. He's acknowledged the bump in the road. He hasn't said, oh, it's bumpy, but he's acknowledged, hey, this isn't going to be perfect. This isn't going to be a well-oiled machine right out of the gate. We're going to take a minute. And also, teams are playing them differently. And we're going to see it again with Todd Bowles. It's not going to be any different, but I'm glad that the Cowboys got aggressive with Matt Eberflus. I'm certainly glad that Steve Spagnuolo is Steve Spagnuolo. And then Mike Shula was Mike Shula, I guess, whatever his resume is, other than, the family line. He got after Jalen Hurts as well. And they made adjustments in game. They had success. They're 3-0. You finally cracked the code of the passing game in this game against the Rams, again, because you had to. But just because you had to do it didn't mean you were going to do it. They did it. So going up against Todd Bowles after your 3 previous opponents, that kind of puts you in okay, well, yeah, they're going to come after me. So it's a matter of you have that practice, if you will. You're going to be prepared. Teams are playing them different, though. The blitz rate has gone up. The offensive line not being 100% healthy. There's no way I look at Landon Dickerson and say he's off to a great start and he's 100%. No way. There's no way I look at Cam Jurgens and think he's 100%. And obviously with Lane Johnson, with the stinger, sitting out practice yesterday, but getting the mental reps, there's no way that you can tell me that O-line is even able to perform at the highest level possible right now. So you can't have Saquon Barkley missing a dead red blitz by blocking the outside guy when the inside guy's coming in hot, like what happened in the first half against the Rams. Your blitz pickup has to be on point. That's going to be something that you're going to obviously have to step up again with Todd Bowles. But teams are getting more aggressive with stopping the run at the line of scrimmage, with the blitz meeting the run there. And teams are also getting more aggressive with speeding up the clock of Jalen Hurts. It's a win-win for these teams. And it's been a win-win for most of the season up until the second half and up until that 28-yard pass from Jalen Hurts to Devontae Smith against the Chiefs. It's been a win-win. We get at the line of scrimmage, we stop the run at the line of scrimmage, or we slow it down and let the other guys from the secondary come down and make the stop. Or we win at the line of scrimmage on a passing play and we get after Jalen Hurts. and we move him off his mark. We make him throw on the run. We keep him guessing. It's been working. Now, how are they going to crack the code? You started cracking the code in Kansas City with all the short passes and all that. Well, now it's a matter of taking it to the next level. And I know Mike Evans isn't going to be playing this game, but Baker Mayfield is still one hell of a quarterback, and I love that he's been getting a lot more flowers from people over the last year because he has certainly been deserving of that. And I mean, the Cleveland Browns, goodness gracious, this guy wins you a playoff game, your first one in forever. He beats the Steelers, and you're just like, how do we go in another direction as soon as possible? Let's get to Sean Watson. That's the ticket. Browns be Browning. Browns be Browning. But Baker Mayfield's a very good quarterback. Mike Evans is going to be hurt, I know. They're going to have some other talented guys, maybe even Chris Godwin. They're going to have some guys out there catching the rock. They're going to have some other guys running the rock. They're going to have some defensive players like Vita Vea, for instance, looking to stop that tush push, get after it. Levante David still probably just enjoying the film of him strip sacking Jalen Hurts last year, which was, by the way, Jalen Hurts' last turnover for quite some time after that. That was the last one of the big, 20 turnovers in 24 games, whatever it was. That was the last one before Jalen Hurts really righted the ship on all that. So it's going to be a tough matchup here, but I do have the Eagles winning this one. As far as taking on Todd Bowles, this is what Jalen Hurts had to say about taking on the defensive mind of Todd Bowles.
He's got a lot of tools and a lot of things in his system and what he does that is very challenging, and that's what makes them such a great team and a great defense. So being knowing all of those things he has available, you just really want to, trust the rules and trust the preparation of everything that you have. But, to just point out, this is a really good team, a really good defense, well coached, and it's always a competitive environment going down there.
We've talked about Patullo versus Eberflus, Spagnuolo, now Shula, now Bowles. Shula really doesn't fit in those three names, but they're all being aggressive this year against the Eagles. This is the one that started it all. This is the first foe, really, the first real rivalry for Jalen Hurts, a guy that he's got to, he's had a master class in now. Now it's time to pass the test. Again, he's beat him in the regular season, not the postseason, but beat him in the regular season. Kevin Patullo is also going to have to be in the lab as well. I said yesterday, and I still believe this, nothing's changed. Jalen Hurts is the Eagles' offense. I know a lot of people will look at last year, the success of Saquon Barkley. Well, a lot of that is Jalen Hurts looking at the line of scrimmage and going, okay, this is what they're doing. All right, well, this is the perfect play for Saquon. This isn't the perfect play for the slant, for instance, just as an example. Or, a swing pass to Devontae Smith. No, this is the perfect play with Saquon can get to that next level. And in Saquon's words, which, by the way, last week, I didn't even mention this on the show. I love Saquon's quote. When they stack the box, and he's like, I love when they stack the box because if I get through it, it's finito. And he's absolutely right. And that could happen in this game as well. They stack the box. It could be finito. Saquon Barkley gets to the next level. But Jalen Hurts, I do believe, is the mastermind now of this offense. And his input is huge. I love the story of him going into the Super Bowl with a list of plays, including the dagger play to Devontae Smith, that he loved to run in the Super Bowl. I think that's how you get on the same page and get the best out of your players by, okay, what do you want to do well? Yeah, give me a list. Yeah, sure, give me a list. Fine. What do you want to do? Let's do it. I think something very similar is going on with Jalen Hurts this year with just how he attacks the season. Not just the Super Bowl, not just big games, but attack the season. Where as things have kind of shifted away from Nick Sirianni over the years, from play caller, game planner to head coach only, that thing, input certainly in the offensive game plan and overall scheme, and then the different play callers, coordinators along the way, Jalen Hurts has grown. He has gotten better. He's gotten smarter. He's obviously gotten more experience. And with that comes the responsibility that he has now at this Eagles offense, where you're going to get to a point, and I hope it's not right now, but you're going to get to a point where it's Jalen Hurts' show. And whoever's in there, yeah, you're going to have somebody else calling plays, but Jalen Hurts is going to have a big say as to what the game plan is, a big say about what the first 15 could look like, as he should, as a veteran Super Bowl winning, Super Bowl MVP, regular season runner-up MVP, two-time NFC champion, should have in an offense. And this is going to be another big test for that, not just for Kevin Patullo, but also for Jalen Hurts. I look forward to seeing how all this in this game. It's weird. So that's what I got for you as far as the Eagles. Now, as far as Jalen Hurts. Now, Nolan Smith gets put on IR. Eagles are finding themselves in a bit of a tight spot right now. I did 2 interviews Tuesday. Both interviewers asked me about the edge rusher position. Going into the season, this was a concern. Going into the season, this was a concern. Azeez Ojulari hasn't even been activated. He hasn't even been active for any of the first 3 games of the season. Josh Uche has been around the ball, but still waiting for him to come up and make a big play, that type of thing. Nolan Smith hasn't been great. Now the triceps are bothering him again. Jahad Campbell also not going to see him. He's banged up. This defense, now that he's an edge rusher, but this defense is now having some issues with staying healthy. This is all right. Let's try that again. I don't know. The dial-up. Must be the dial-up. By the way, see that sort of AOL's getting rid of that or got rid of it? That's but the bigger thing for this is that you're going up against still a good offense without Mike Evans, and your defense has been struggling, unfortunately, when it comes to getting after the quarterback. And one of the things from last year that really bothers me is how much time you gave Baker Mayfield to throw the football. One of the things I was even talking about on Tuesday, before we knew about Nolan Smith and the triceps and all that, was that last year, if you remember, Vic Fangio did not have coverage, despite Baker Mayfield picking that defense apart, despite getting rid of the football 1.7 seconds every time. You didn't blitz him. You didn't have press coverage on the outside. You didn't try to throw off the timing. Nothing. You did nothing defensively. These moments of great adjustments we've seen so far this year from the defense, you did not see that in that game. Now, the other part of it is you think about it as that was also Vic Fangio's 4th time. I don't know what is going on with the show today. I don't know what's going on with this, but I'm gonna push through. Those great adjustments we've seen from Vic Fangio this year and really towards the end of last year as well, you didn't see it in that game. And you also try to keep in mind that was Vic Fangio's 4th game with this defensive team. Then they take the bye week. They come out. Cooper DeJean is now your nickel corner, and everything really changes with that defense. The Eagles, the last time they were a questionable team was when they went against this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. And now, when you went into that game with, yes, your full defense, but you went into that game also with not your full offense. Both your receivers were hurt in that one, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. That was concerning. Now you're going into this game with a banged-up defense and an already lackluster edge rusher position is banged up even more. Zadarius Smith came out, balled out in his first game since January 18th, and he was great. Filled up the stat sheet rather well. He's going to need to do the same type of thing. Talked about the opportunity he has in front of him in the locker room yesterday. He's got to go out there and show that he could be, that Pro Bowl level player because they're going to need him in this game. If he can unleash fury in one particular game, this is going to be the game where he needs to do it. You also look at other guys that you want to see step up and make a. I would imagine Azeez Ojulari is going to have to be activated in this game. Special teams, Gibson's going to have to come off of doing nothing to be your kick returner, your punt returner, probably as well. That's going to have to be shored up so you can get as many yards as possible to advance that football on this defense. But there are just things that the Eagles have to shore up here, and it's going to be even more difficult because of the injuries, especially on the defensive side of the football. So I've already not been impressed by what we've seen from this edge rusher spot. It's also going to make it more difficult to win those double teams in the middle of the line of scrimmage. As great as Jordan Davis has played, as great as Jalen Carter is ascending to get back into the swing that he was in last year, you're going to need even more from those guys. The tide has to rise with the injury ship coming in, unfortunately. Yeah. So that's where we're at with that. I mentioned the Philadelphia Phillies. I mentioned their 8 home runs last night, a franchise record, and Edmundo Sosa being the first Philly shortstop ever to hit 3 home runs in a game. That's pretty impressive. Well, after the game, I heard the most impressive thing I've heard from this Phillies team all year. Now, very impressive. Look, it's against the Marlins, fine. But 11-1 is still good. They lost in 11 innings the night before. Bad. But last night, after the game, Kyle Schwarber has the 2-homer night, his 5th of the season, multi-home run game. And Kyle Schwarber talked about going out of the regular season into the postseason and how everyone in the clubhouse knows what's at stake despite clinching a first-round bye and potentially setting a Phillies record for home runs in a single season. Schwarber sitting at 56. Here he is on how great the year's been versus
still on
going
the day-to-day for me. Don't get me wrong. Like I know that it's been a successful season, not just for me, but for a lot of guys in the clubhouse and for our team in general. Just, back-to-back NL East champions, going to the playoffs again. We just got to buy, being one of the top 2 teams in the National League. So there's a lot to be proud of, and we're not done yet. We got to keep pushing, and you just don't want to be remembered for regular seasons. You want to be remembered for special things down the road. So, we know that the postseason's a wild animal, and that there's a lot of different things that we need to do to walk away with a win at the end of the day. So, we're excited for it. We just want to get there and push towards the end and get ready for that postseason.
There we go. I think you get the idea. So that's Kyle Schwarber yesterday in the locker room. You want to be remembered for what you do in the postseason, not for the regular season. And I think I can speak for all of Philadelphia when we say, yeah, I totally agree with that. That makes all the sense in the world. Totally agree with that. We've seen the regular season success. We've seen a first round bye before. We've seen home runs before, certainly. Nice little parade down Broad Street, courtesy of the Philadelphia Phillies. That's what I think a lot of people would be in on. I'm going to call it on today. I appreciate the people that hung in there in social media on Twitter, X, all that stuff. But yeah, I got to, I think, reboot everything. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys are great as per usual. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow on a Football Friday. Until then, have a great rest of your day, everybody. See ya.